The first thing we're going to talk about, the first major event, is the creation story. Many of you are probably pretty familiar with this. However, I think we can add some things, especially to the knowledge of some of the things about us being in the image of God and other things along the lines. Creation was made in 6 days, and God rested on the seventh. So we see from the start of everything, God already ordains rest and the Sabbath. Sabbath is the Hebrew word for rest and delight. So he's already ordaining this for us from the beginning of time. So one of the main things about the creation story, though, is that he, after God creates everything, he deems it very good. And each day, he creates a new thing, and see, he says it was good. After creating humans, which is the last thing he makes in creation, he calls it very good. So this is, I think, very important because often, I think as Christ followers, we forget our original goodness and tend to start reading the Bible from where the fall starts, talking often about being dead in sin and other things like that, which the Apostle Paul tells us is true, but also we need to remember the original goodness that we have in the image of God. I think a lot of negative ideas about ourselves have come from us really hating our humanity, whereas being in the image of God in certain ways has given us really good things, obviously. So, along with that, though, God does ordain some other things from the beginning after he makes the male and female, who are Adam and Eve. But it's interesting, actually, in some of the original languages, many of the translations actually don't even translate them as Adam and Eve. It's really just man and woman. So that brings up some interesting things as far as them being first humans, everything like that, when thinking about kind of creation debate type of stuff. So if you're interested in that, I think that's a good place to kind of start. But what God says to the humans, the other thing that he ordains, he says to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. And then he gives them dominion. So, first of all, be fruitful and multiply. He gives a mandate from the beginning to procreate, to also till the garden, to be able to continue to be fruitful. He also says to fill the earth and subdue it. This is him enabling us in certain ways to be a reflection of him as creator, to create in the earth as we do, which is really cool that that's there from the beginning. But yeah, he also gives us dominion over creatures and creation. So, these right here are all of the things, that God created us for in the beginning. This is how we were supposed to be in an ideal world, in God's perfect world. So all of this stuff has a lot of really interesting things, but the thing that I want to really focus on in creation is the image of God. So it says in the creation story that man and woman are made in the image of God. So I think often there's a lot of misconceptions about maybe what the image of God entirely means, or at least people just don't dive too far into it. We use the language of it and throw it around a lot with the image of God, saying that this is the reason that we have value and purpose, and that is very true. However, what does it really mean that we're in the image of God? What I kind of think it means that we're created in the image of God is from the start we were made with characteristics of God within us. in the fall, which we'll see in the next video, that image and the characteristics of God within us become tainted and overshielded by sin and shame. But as of now, we have these characteristics of God within us. What do we think these are? For me, a good way of describing these is the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control. So, why is this important? Often it's hard to pin down what our identity is. It changes a lot based on our actions, right, and things that we do. But I kind of reference this as kind of the true self in Christ. We all have the capability, because of the image of God in us, to express love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control to the world. So we can express these to others, and those are the things that create those fruits in others also. And we can even use these in our own brain to bring compassion to ourselves. So when we start treating every single part of ourself with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control, this is where we really start to reach wellness. So this is going to be a really important thing for me going forward as we analyze kind of the parts of ourselves and things like that. So those are some of the main things about creation that I think are really important to understand. As things go forward, we'll understand that this original goodness is falls because of temptation of people for a lot of reasons, because of the sin of pride, and because of a lot of different reasons. So stay tuned for the next video. So we'll talk about the fall as the next big stage of the Bible.